Ever feel alone, isolated in your classroom or position? Ever feel lost? I used to, but now I'm a Discovery Educator, and I bring joy to my classroom. Every school has that one teacher that kind of stands out among the rest of them, who kind of pushes the limits and stretches the boundaries just a little bit. Well, I've been like that since my entire career. I didn't do it because I wanted to be different than everybody else. It's just to the point where I felt that traditional instruction was missing something. I felt that the students themselves needed to take a part of the learning and take ownership and show us how they've learned versus us telling them how to reiterate the information. I know it's a very rewarding experience for myself and my students, but it's also at times lonely and depressing as well. Because people see us, they see the mess in my classroom, they hear the noise, they see kids out of their seats, they're using technology and they're using their phones, and people are quick to judge. But I knew this method was right for my classroom. I knew this was right for my students because it came to fruition a few years ago when I was teaching 5th grade forces in motion at one of my schools. And I knew something was missing. So I came up with this idea for the students to build miniature golf courses with hot glue and cardboard. So they built whatever they wanted as long as they can explain the concept. So they started in isolation. They built one for inertia, one for velocity, one for slopes and gravity, and so on and so forth. And as they were building them and playing them, they would explain how they worked. And then once they were completed, then they can work in small groups and build whatever they wanted as long as they can reinforce the information. So they built towers and jumps and tubes and amazing things with this little golf ball to do. And it was a fascinating project. And we invited the whole school to play because we set them all up in the main hallway. And then all the kids came to play, and my students were manning each one. And what they would do is they would teach the students how to play and also how the forces worked behind them. So they became the teachers. They took ownership of their learning. But that wasn't the best part. You see, I had one student in that class that was very reluctant to learn. He never really got involved much, never talked, sat in the back, just never did his classwork. He was just kind of there. And according to his data, he was expected not to pass any of his subject areas. But when it came to this project, he was the first to get started and the last to be finished. And his was the most amazing. This is his. This is the one where it started with one large tower and went 9 or 10 different directions, and they all wound up in the same spot. It garnered so much attention that it wound up on the Golf Channel making national news thanks to the First Tee program. But that wasn't the best part. What made it so astounding is that he earned a 4 on his EOG, even though he was expected to fail. So I knew that this method of instruction works for my classroom. It's rewarding for us, but also at times lonely as well. That all changed when I became a member of the Den. The Discovery Educator Network is a community of teachers, facilitators, administrators that believe in that type of instruction, where we are creative and innovative through different technologies and methods of instruction so that the students are taking ownership of their learning and not us telling them how to learn. So many of us know who Wayne Fisher is. He is the guru of science. You know, he's the leader of our Science Alliance. Without him, many of us wouldn't do well in science. He has pulled so many of us together to share resources and to celebrate and to collaborate and work together to build better science teachers within our district. The Den is an army of Wayne Fishers, hundreds of Waynes all around the world doing what he does best. And the world would be so much better if we had more Waynes in the world. You know, like a Wayne-a-Palooza or Waynians or whatever. And I owe so much for him. It's so much of my career depends on how much he's showed me through himself or the people that I've met through him. And that's what the Den is. Just all those Waynes there to help you. Now the newest acronym or buzzword is PLC. Now, and then they're pushing on us that our grade levels are PLC, our administrators are PLC, our facilitators are PLC, the custodians are PLC, and whoever's closest will be your PLC. And to me, they're great people, and I work well with them, and I really cherish them, and a lot of them are here from my school now. They're somewhere over here. There they are. Thanks. But the personal part of the learning community has to be from people that I really cherish, the ones I really depend on, the ones that I would put my shoulder to lean upon, or the ones I get inspired because they're just as innovative and creative and a little weird like I am. Because they learn and teach the same way I do. And that's what the Den is to me. Because they use the most valuable resource that we have, each other. They're building a community of teachers and facilitators and administrators that are going to be lifelong friends through in-person and virtual events so we can become better educators to our students. And my story here is to talk about how I became a member of the Den, not because I want to talk about me, which I like to do, but to the point of that I want you to find your joy, like as much as I have, in this community. I want you to find your joy by making a connection to a community of teachers and educators that are in this room or in your district or in your school or on your Facebook page. So I became a member and started in 2013 when an email went out asking my principal asking us for a volunteer to become somebody to be a liaison for Discovery Education in our school. And I said, sure, I'll do it. I really didn't at the time understand what I was supposed to do, but I figured I liked Discovery. I'd been using it for a few years, and I like technology, so might as well try it. Little did I know I was going to spend a week in Vermont over the summer and attend a conference, a Discovery conference. Now, I'd never even been to a conference before, much less a Discovery one, so I really had no clue what I was doing. So, I had to jump through all these hoops. I had to make a video of myself. I had to make an Edmodo account and a Twitter account and connect my Facebook page and all these other things I was supposed to do, and I didn't know half of them what they were at the time. But I went anyway. So I brought my little spiral notebook, and I went there to learn whatever it is I was supposed to learn and bring it back to my school to share with them. So my first experience with the Den was to walk into a darkened room similar to this with over 150 people, and as I walked in, I noticed the room was aglow. It was glowing because they had all their technology out. You know, each person had their iPhone, they had their iPad, they had their phone, they had their tablet, their MacBook, and most of them had like 3 or 4 of them, like they came from the enterprise or something. So, and then I had my notebook, so I really didn't know what I was doing. And then that wasn't the only reason why that room was glowing. It was because everyone in that room was smiling. Every person there was smiling and hugging each other and cheering and just being so happy. And it seemed like everybody in that room knew everybody except me. So I did what I thought was best, and I just kind of hid in the corner and just kind of stayed out of the way. But that didn't last long. They immediately pulled me into their conversations. They immediately talked about the things they wanted to learn about, what they wanted to share at that conference, and what they're looking forward to learning, and all these other things. And I just became a part of their community. And I felt welcome immediately. And then the sessions began. Remember, this is 2013, so this is my first time experiencing Google and iPads and QR codes and augmented reality and green screening and geocaching and all the advanced features of Discovery Ed I never knew existed, like SOS strategies, virtual field trips, and TechBook, all these amazing things I never knew existed. I was just trying to grab as many as I could to hold on to them like a happy little miser to learn. And I wanted it all. It was so exciting. But that wasn't what made this conference and what this community was so important. It was all these conversations I was having, all these new friendships I was making, the conversations and friendships I was making before the sessions and during the sessions and after the sessions, early in the morning and late at night. All these things were happening within that week. And then at the end, we all had to reconvene back at this large room with 150 people. And people were volunteering to tell their story of the week or tell their story of what happened in their career or what have you, because they thought, they just wanted to share. And these ladies who took me under their wing said, I should speak. And I'm like, I'm not going to speak. I don't know anything that's going on. I don't know anything, and no one knows me, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't like talking in front of people. I'm kind of shy. But they introduced me anyway, so I was forced to stand up there. So as I went up, I couldn't think of anything, so I kind of panicked. And the first thing that came to my head was this luggage tag. You see, at the beginning of the conference, they passed out all this stuff with their logo on it, like swag. And that's what people do at conferences. And at the time, I didn't know that. And I was like, oh, luggage tag, that's nice. And I just put it to the side, because I really didn't want the luggage tag. Because I really wanted a luggage tag that defined me as a person. Because I really thought that luggage tag should be about who you are and how you represent yourself. So my wife had her NC State one. That's who she is. She's NC State. And I wanted one that represented me. And I thought, I want a luggage tag that when people see it, that, yes, that's him, that's Pete. And I said, yes. And then mine was going to be Honey Badger Don't Care. Now, and I looked long and hard to find the perfect luggage tag to be me. And it's Honey Badger Don't Care. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google it. But don't do it now because you're listening to me. But at that moment, I forgot all of that except for this luggage tag. Because that was that moment when I realized I want this luggage tag on my luggage. I want this logo on my shirt. I want to be part of this community, because this is the first time in my life I finally felt like I belonged somewhere. This is the first time in my life I felt like I belonged with someone else. I was a part of something important. I mean, besides being married, this is the only time I really felt like I belonged anywhere. Love you, wifey. So my entire life changed. I felt like I finally found my home, my tribe, if you will. And my story didn't end there. It only begun. So the next several years, I started continuing my journey with these people by social media, by attending conferences in person or virtual events and all these other things. So they became part of my life. They became part of my social network. They became part of my PLC, where these are the people I would go to celebrate, to share, to come up with ideas, to be inspired or have a shoulder to lean upon. These are the people that I always go to because they're just like me. And that's not where it ended. It's just begun, because with me finding my joy, my students found their joy, because all those things I learned from them, they weren't about me standing in front of the classroom sharing them. That's not what they're about. They're about using all those resources for the students to take ownership of their learning so they can explain what they've learned in class and give it back to you. So through Discovery Education, I found my joy and so have my students. And we've been able to create kinesthetic music videos explaining content. We've made QR codes where students can make interactive content. We're making green screen movie videos. We're doing children's books that scan and that come to life like Harry Potter. I now have a makerspace in my mornings where students are building and creating and celebrating, working together, because that's what 21st century is about, is working as a team, not as individuals. But besides making things, they're making things that are based on content. So they're working on making piñatas to reinforce matter. They're making roller coasters to reinforce physics. So all these things are happening. But also I've learned a lot about myself. I found joy within myself, and now I'm more confident so I can stand and present at these conferences. So instead of me just being a receiver, now I'm giving as well. I'm going to conferences and I'm presenting my information. I'm giving topics about the things that my students are creating and giving it to other schools and other teachers. So they're finding their joy. So I'm inspiring and sharing, just like the Den has done for me. I'm giving back to other people. So now the relationship is becoming a giving and taking responsibility. So now we're all added to the joy, because I'm sharing that joy to other schools. Because recently I've been going to a lot of schools at STEM nights, and I'm designing breakout rooms based on content from science, but also all the resources that they showed me, and making breakout rooms to give to the students and also to give to the teachers so they can use them on their own. It's becoming more and more of a community within my district and now all over as we share more. So I came here today because I wanted you to understand how much this means to me, and also and more importantly, for you to find your tribe, to find your community, because nothing feels greater than to share success. No matter how great you are, whatever it is that you're doing, if you're not telling somebody about it, it's only half the battle. So I want to end this with a quote from Sweatpants and Coffee that Discovery Education has adopted, and it says, "When you find people who not only tolerate your quirks, but celebrate them with glad cries of 'me too,' be sure to cherish them, because those weirdos are your tribe." Discovery Education is there for you, but so is everybody in this room. If you feel like you want to expand yourself and open those doors and stretch the limits a little bit, then welcome to the Den. Everybody here that belongs to CMS is a subscriber to Discovery Education, but most of us don't know that this community exists. You're only one click away to becoming a Den Star and joining this weird community of people that are loving to share. But if that's not what you want, then find a community within your school. Look around this room. Everybody in this room came here for a reason on a school night. That they chose to come here and spend time to be inspired by somebody that's presenting. So somebody in this room could be part of your new tribe. It could be another teacher from your classroom, another school, a different district, or someone that you're related to. So find your tribe, because it's time to celebrate and be part of something that's greater than you, because we're all educators in our own way. My name is Peter Panico, and I'm a Discovery Educator, and I'm never alone. Thank you.